Good afternoon, Madam Mayor. Can you hear me?
Sure can, Wes.
All right, thank you.
And we can see you fine too. You want me to, I'll log into Zoom just so you can see me. Why don't you read consent then? There.
And I have no problem with that. We can put the hospice motion on consent.
No, the one about the hospice.
Ken thinks that's his motion as well, though. That's why.
There you go, Wes. I logged on just for you.
Thank you very much. For votes, do you want me to actually type in favor or opposed into the chat? Or is a hand up good enough?
For him to type it or just, they want you to type into the chat.
Fair enough.
Yeah, okay. Oh my gosh, it's 2:02. I am so sorry, everyone. Thought we had all this time in the world. Oops. Call the meeting to order. We're starting with our annual required by the MGA organizational meeting. So it's Monday, October 24th, 2022. Everyone is in attendance with Councillor Broadhead virtual from, where are you, Wes? Ottawa? You're muted. Oh, Montreal? Okay.
Yes, Montreal, yep.
Okay.
You must have said it in French first.
All right, this is awesome. So to start off our next year, the org meeting is, as I said, required by the MGA, but sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of ceremony to start that off. And so we have asked Lauren Seal, our poet laureate, to join us today and read something she's prepared for today. We're really putting you to work this year with your poetry, Lauren, and I love it. So if you want to come down to the mic and start us off on a good note. Yep, there's a bar on there that's the microphone.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can hear you just fine.
Okay, perfect. So hello, council. Thank you for having me again. It's a lot of work, but I love writing poems for you and for St. Albert. I also want to thank the weather because I wrote an October specific, autumn specific poem. And I was looking, I'm like, it's gonna snow, and it's gonna ruin it. So without further ado, my poem, An October Ode. October gilds city streets in copper leaf, kisses noses with chapped and eager lips. A greeting, the season saying how lovely it is to be here once more. Just like Anne Shirley, I am so glad I live in a world where there are Octobers. A world of cable knit sweaters and scarves coiled round necks like snakes. A world of cold coat-covered mornings and, for a little while longer, heat-tempered t-shirt adorned afternoons. I'm so glad I live in a world of saffron sunshine, dog walks down boulevards half buried with leaves, or my dog diving into mounds head first of brown, yellow, orange crunch, his soft black curls disappearing into a kaleidoscope of decay. I'm so glad I live in a world where plastic tombstones spread like gap-toothed smiles across lawns, where pumpkins stand sentry on stoops, and anatomically impossible skeletons hide in gardens and eaves. I am so glad I live in this October and not past Octobers, where bad luck and illness hung murky and low as early morning fog, refusing to clear, blurring the edges of vision like a sunspot. Most of all, I'm glad, or maybe grateful, for the steadfast trees whose shedding shows me change can be transformative, loss can be endured. Thank you.
As always, Lauren, that was wonderful. I like the change can be transformative. Change doesn't have to be something we need to be scared of. Your entire poem and sometimes you remind me of Anne Shirley. Always optimistic and looking for just the littlest things, and they get you all excited and you write poems about them. So thank you. Thank you so much. That was really, really good. Ode to October. All right. This should be fairly quick, except for maybe the first motion on organizational matters. But let's go to 3.1. Sorry, 2.1 was additional input. So in our package was the letter from the Gazette. So 3.1, I need a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Mackay, go ahead.
That the October 24th, 2022 agenda, organizational meeting agenda be adopted as presented. Although I'm not, Lauren's left. She could come over and break my leaves. I'm not that happy with October.
All right, call for the vote. Voting's closed. Passes unanimously. Pretty much the same agenda we do every year, isn't it? All right, 4.1, organizational matters. It says David Lafleur presenting. Do you have a presentation, David?
Madam Mayor, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation,
Okay.
just a couple of quick comments, if I may.
Okay.
The report more or less speaks for itself. I'm going to confess, I kind of, I made some assumptions that I shouldn't have in writing the report. So for example, it may very well be that there might be one or more council members who would prefer one of the days over the other, but not necessarily the proposed starting time. So that can be handled through either through when the motion is made initially, or it could be handled through amendments to a motion. So I guess all I'm saying is, please don't take it that I was telling council, you've got to choose, alternative one as presented or alternative two as presented. As always, council is always free to make amendments to proposed motions. And that comes into play also in another aspect. If council members or some council member would have an idea of maybe a slightly different starting time for an in-camera portion of a meeting, that can easily be built into one of the motions. And if we can craft something on the fly if we have to. So please, I guess all I'm saying is that there's more flexibility than maybe might be implied from the report. That said, there are two main alternatives, Monday and Tuesday, and this is here before council simply because at the time that the standing committee structure was abandoned and the debate around that, there was discussion at that point about what would be the best time for council meetings, and we did commit to bringing back two alternatives. So they're here. I mean, I think I can speak for administration. We don't have any particular recommendation one way or the other. We can, I guess maybe a better way to put it is administration can accommodate itself to whichever schedule council desires. So it's not, you shouldn't worry about what's best for administration. We can do either one. This is just really for you to choose what you think is best for you and for the public. So that's it.
Yeah. I would suggest the only one we would not be able to accommodate is Mondays at 9:30, because that would just be, do you want to jump in, Mr. Fletcher? I know how busy it is.
Yeah.
On the third floor, the first 4 or 5 hours on a Monday, scrambling to get ready for 2 o'clock. So Mr. Fletcher, that you would agree?
Yes, your worship, I would.
Yeah.
So Mondays at 9:30 would necessitate a significantly early start in order to set the stage for that
Yeah.
beginning timeframe, with obviously the danger being of necessitating some work on Sunday, which we would prefer to avoid if at all possible.
Okay, all right. So council, whoever makes the first motion. It is separated out A and B about the day, and then B is all about the time. I had suggested that we do them one at a time, but Mr. Lafleur mentioned that somebody may prefer the start time might be contingent on what day of the week it is. Sorry. So we might do A and B together. We can do all three, all four, it doesn't really matter, all four together, and then we could do amendments around whoever reads it in around the day or the time. And as Mr. LaFleur said, we can be somewhat flexible in this too. I would suggest, I think we could probably do committee of the whole at a different start time than council. Committee of the whole could even be on a different day than council. So those kind of things are all in our purview and up to conversation. So, oh, we have a question, Councillor Hughes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I got a couple. Hi, Mr. Fleur. So, I have the word time. That was the thing. So when I read this for B, it says, let's just take everything at face value. So let's just pretend it's going to be Mondays. But then it says, on some cases there are Tuesdays, right? Because we have staffs. So in those cases, it'd be a Tuesday. So when I read this, is the intention to have it always at 2:00? Or is it that on the days that we have a Tuesday, it would start at 9:30? Because we would have that like 10 times a year or so.
So there's no particular intention, but the meaning of B is that if a meeting, no matter which calendar you adopt, if a meeting is on a Monday, it starts at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Whatever kind of meeting, right? So sorry, what a council meeting. If a council meeting is on a Monday, it starts at 2 p.m. And if a council meeting is on a Tuesday, it would start at 9:30.
So it would vary depending, because
Are you suggesting that after a long weekend?
yes,
If we
looking at long weekend.
if we decided today to move to Tuesdays at 9:30, and then we had a long weekend, then we're faced with the same Monday at 9:30 kind of
Issue.
issue.
Like I'm just saying, like, if we said we're doing Mondays and then we said and we have a long weekend and the way it's written, it would say that it's done on long weekends are meeting on Tuesdays at 9:30 is how I'm reading it. And so I'm just trying to make sure that whoever reads this is whatever they intend to put forward is accurate so that we don't have confusion by council members or admin at the end of the day. So, because if that's not the intention, then we should say Monday version 2:00, Tuesday version 9:30 or something like that, right? So that we know what we're doing, unless the intention was, and I'm not saying it's a bad intention, that if we met on Tuesdays, it'd be 9:30, but you'd have the same problem then for staff as you're having right now on Monday mornings, trying to scramble to get things together.
Yes, we would on the cases of those long weekends. If it were a permanent Tuesday 9:30, we would have Monday to prepare. It wouldn't be an issue. On those cases where there are long weekends, then we would
Have issues.
have issues, yes, but obviously at a reduced frequency
Okay.
than doing it every Monday.
So I think that the intention of the motion, I think we need to have it worded slightly differently. So it says on Monday meetings, it's 2 a.m. and then 2 p.m. Sorry, no, I'm not meeting in the morning at that time. I'm not as alert as you might think. And then a totally separate thing about the Tuesday meetings, like these almost need to be separate, is what I'm saying. Like I know we're saying just to do them all together, but we'll be doing so many, like, because I'm just thinking Councillor Jolly, she has, hers is like related to timing as well as, I'm not sure about days, but timing. So,
We can do them one at a time.
yeah, I'm just not sure if that one needs to go before A. Because of the timing thing. Because if we agree to 9:30, then we know Mondays are out. If we don't agree to 9:30, then we know it's either way. Right?
I'm okay either way.
But, and just as another thing, if we agree to 9:30 on Tuesdays, you're going to have the same problem for all of your council meetings or committee meetings that occur after a long weekend, which then is going to happen about 10 times a year. So this could cause inadvertent stress for council or for administration on every single, it'll make you dread every long weekend there is. So, okay, and just so I have this all.
Okay, yep.
Okay, that was, so anyways, I just think we need to have that clarity. So I just don't think the motion reflects that. And the other thing I had a question was about the budget. So the question about the dates we have right now for question period. Again, I'm just gonna go with the Monday version just for now, is the 1st and the 3rd. And then if it's the Tuesday version, it's the 3rd and the 7th. Is there any reason why we couldn't do the 1st and the 8th and give a bit of a breather between the question periods? Is there an issue with having the 3rd move to the 8th for the second session? Because we only have 2 sessions.
So you're talking,
For the November 2022
If
we
we
have-
move to Tuesdays, you want it the 3rd and the 8th?
No, I want, if we, either way, we can do the, but I mean, if, I'm thinking if we kept it on Mondays, I'm just gonna just go with the idea that we kept on Mondays. We have it the 1st and the 3rd, and I'm wondering if we can get it the 1st and the 8th.
I'd like that better because I'm on vacation. so it
Right.
Works for me.
So, okay. And although that was a high priority of mine about your vacation, I just thought it also just gives us a bit more time to think before we have to do the second round.
Yeah.
So,
So when we get to
so as soon
that,
as we get in there, I'm gonna send for the amendment right now, just to change it to the 1st and the 8th, or to move this. Because if we do Tuesdays, it'll be the 3rd and the 8th, and if, or the 3rd and the 7th, I don't care, and then that would be, the other one would be Monday, 8th, so. That calendar is also gonna be kind of subject to wherever we go on this.
figure out what you want to do for both versions. And send it.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I got for now.
I had
Thank you.
Another quick question, then I'll go to you, Councillor Killick. On both proposed calendars, you only have one council meeting in November. The entire month, we only have one council meeting. Why do we not want to have, why do we not want to have on the 21st and or the 15th?
As I understand it, at the last agenda planning meeting, it was agreed there wasn't enough business for a
I
second
thought we
meeting.
were going to keep it there and then I would cancel it. Isn't it harder to schedule one?
Well, it's harder, once you've adopted a calendar, it's actually harder to cancel a meeting because you need a resolution.
Okay,
at the Previous meeting.
Just so you know,
There's no
we
previous
squished,
meeting.
yeah, okay. So we squished a bunch of agenda items on into a couple days to give us a breather in November so we can focus on budget because obviously November is a really busy month. So, all right, Councillor Killick, go ahead.
Thank you. Just a simple question. I wasn't sure which button to put. Thank you, Councillor Mackay, for helping me there. To Mr. LaFleur's point, if we were just to simply, before we read the motion in, and I see Councillor Jolly's already requested to read the motion, but for item B, if we were to change the 9:30 a.m. time for when a meeting shifts due to the long weekend to 2 o'clock so that all council meetings started to, can we do that as we read it in, or do we need to have a specific? Okay, so I see lots of nodding. We can just read it that way. We don't have to motion it.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay,
No motion's
good.
been made yet, so whoever makes the first motion can do what they want with it.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Councillor Bermansky.
Okay, I just have a couple comments, and looking at the calendars, it's really only 2 long weekends that the council meeting would be following. Originally, it would just be committee meetings, I think, following. So on the committee meetings, it generally takes less organization, does it not, than a council meeting?
In general, yes, that's true.
Okay, and is it better for staff at the committee meetings to be there during the day? You know, I mean, I understand the, the evening for the council meeting so that the public can see and not as much staff there. So they're kind of ending their day and doing it from home as well. So my thought was just confirming that a committee meeting's better daytime and a council meeting at 2 p.m. Would that work at your end?
Absolutely. Again, we can conform to anything from a committee meeting, which is generally focused on sort of more operational level topics. The staff are a bit better positioned during the day to answer by all means.
Okay, and they've been doing the committee meetings, the split committees at that time for some time already, so that wouldn't be much of a change. Okay, I don't know if someone's going to make a motion here. I'd like to make a motion for the change to the Tuesday.
Well,
Natalie's-
Councillor Jolly's
Okay.
up first and then we'll take amendments for sure.
Okay,
So if we want, no matter what day we decide, if, for example, Councillor Hughes wants to move just one meeting around like that, can I just look for nods from council, or do you want a motion to change a date? Like, so Councillor Hughes could change the budget meeting in November from the 1st to the 8th, for example.
So with respect to the budget meetings, yeah, the nods are fine. With respect to regularly scheduled council meetings, if someone wants to change one or more of those, probably better a motion because that has consequences in the MGA, right? If you do that. So I think it would be better for a motion, but for just budget meetings, just
Yeah, okay.
informal consensus is fine.
So, sorry, go ahead, Counselor McKay.
Yeah, I just following up on that and the comment around moving the budget dates around logistically. I mean, in the past, we had actual physical dates because we had requirement for physical locations, and we had to get prior notice out to make sure that members of the community had adequate time to provide feedback. By moving it with just a nod of the head, is that going to impact anything that's staff has been working on in relation to timing or location or meetings with the chamber, meetings with our community groups?
Providing the first, third, seventh, first, third, eighth, there are placeholders on that already. So any movement, I would say, within those parameters do not require a great deal of change administratively.
Thanks. I was just worried about administration maybe being locked into that already.
Counselor Romansky, you have another question?
I do. I just want to know if we could question the newspaper with regard to the letter, if that's out of order here. I'm not sure.
You want to ask questions about the letter from the Gazette?
Right, I want to ask the, if they can answer or not.
They're not here.
Well, Rachel's. here.
Well, that's not her role. That's not her role.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted, it's like they
That's
gave us
not
a
her
letter,
role.
but
Yeah.
we have no.
No, process wise, you can ask questions to the public if they register to speak. and they're
Oh,
not here.
okay, and that's it. Okay, so we'll have to go on his letter. on-
Okay.
Thanks.
Poor Rachel. All right, and my last question, I guess, is if we get to the committee, the whole conversation, the motion that you have is just to adopt what we approved in the council meeting calendar. So if we wanted to do committee of the whole on a different day, how would we make that motion? Just adopt the Tuesday version or Monday or whatever.
So not entirely clear. You mean like a totally different day, like a Wednesday?
Yeah,
or
so
something?
so the motion for the establishing the committee of the whole is pretty much just do what we do for council, right? That the schedule for the regular meetings of standing committee will be as shown as the approved calendar attached. So the one we've already approved for council.
Yeah.
So if we want to do it for a different day, we would just say Tuesday version, Monday version.
As between Tuesday and Monday, yes, that could be accommodated.
For
If it's
community
any
of the
other
whole, okay.
day, then we've got to start from scratch. Reconstruct.
I think we're good. I think we're good. So. Oh, go ahead, Councillor Hughes.
Okay, I came up with this and I remember when, now I know what I'm going to say. If this was to go on Tuesdays, we do have committee meetings that are scheduled on Tuesdays, and we are also appointing counselors to committee meetings. So would then there be the assumption that those committee meetings will all be rescheduled to a different day?
Like
Like
advisory
CSAC,
committee?
Yes,
Advisory
advisory
committees.
committees, because we're also appointing council reps to those based on
Good
the
point.
availability of council members.
Well,
In preparing the report, I didn't even have regard to the possibility that a citizens or advisory committee meeting might conflict with this.
Policing committee, CSAC is meeting those days and has for a long time.
when does Environment Advisory Committee? meet?
Thursdays.
Thursdays. So it's just CSE
C and
policing.
policing, that I off the top of my head.
Arts, what time, when does Arts Wednesdays get? Well, yeah, I think we would have to reschedule those.
Okay,
Okay.
so then depending on availability, we also may have to change the legislative appointments later. Like we'll have to just have a discussion later because we haven't even discussed availabilities.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
so did I hear that we can just, if I have agreement from council that we can move that one budget meeting without a motion? I need, so I'm here and I'm seeing a nod from Mike, nod from Ken. It's your idea, so I'm assuming you're a yes.
Yeah, but it depends on which day, if we need to or not.
Right, yeah. Yeah. And Councillor Bransky and Councillor Broadhead, thumbs up. Okay, no motion required on that one. Councillor Jolly, let's start the debate. Yeah, I know, yeah. Let's get into it, I meant.
All right, okay, bear with me. So I'm just gonna do all four, and then I know there'll be amendments proposed possibly.
Okay.
So that the schedule for regular meetings of city council for the period November 1, 2022 to October 23, 2023, as shown on the 2022 to 2023 council committee calendar Tuesday version attached to the October 24, 2022 agenda report entitled Organizational Matters Be Approved. That scheduled regular council meetings for the 2022-2023 council year will commence at 1 p.m.
Okay, you're making it one. All right.
Yeah.
It's your motion.
Yeah, I don't think I need to add anything else to that one. That scheduled regular council meetings will occur in council chambers at the St. Albert Place with an option for council members or the public to attend or participate through an electronic platform. And that the next org meeting will occur on October 23, 2023.
Now, there was a point about if it's Tuesdays, 1 p.m. is fine. Yeah, I think even if there's a long weekend. So yeah, we're good there. All right. All right, opening arguments. Oh,
Okay,
Well, you need to go request a motion. That's why I didn't go to you. So do you want to make a motion? Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, so I just thought, let's just make this simpler so that it doesn't all pass or fail at once and have to do another set of motions. So can we do an amendment to change it from the Tuesday version to the Monday version for section A? And we can debate the date right up in front now, so we don't have to worry about,
That's your prerogative.
that's my prerogative. That's
So your motion would be to amend Councillor Jolly's motion to replace Monday or Tuesday version with Monday.
to Monday version, correct. Well,
Not touching the
that'd be a
time.
separate amendment.
Okay. Any questions on that before I accept the amending motion? Seeing none, go ahead, Councillor Hughes.
Okay, there's two reasons for doing this. The first is I think it should be on Mondays, but the second reason is because I just think it'll be cleaner than having things fail and having to do this all over again in the event that doesn't pass on Tuesday. So really, I don't think that this wheel is broken on Mondays. I think that we have a system that works, both from getting administration to be able to have their work schedule done as of Tuesday mornings and move forward with their week and not having that kind of pending. I know that certainly as far as getting information out in a print form, it is dependent upon us being able to make decisions on a Monday. And if we go to a Tuesday, we're looking at letting the public basically, as far as a print form goes, be a week plus in delay before they find out any of the information the council made. So I think that that's relevant. The other thing that I realize is just there's a lot of unintended consequences that, for example, the CSAC and policing committee meetings and other things that we may not have thought through that are going to happen if we change it to a Tuesday. So it has worked for as long as I know on Mondays. I don't see a huge onus to change it to Tuesdays. And when we signed on to council, we signed on to a Monday meeting schedule. So that was really what worked better. And that's what we agreed to. And so ripping it out halfway through, I just don't feel comfortable with. So that's my motion for that.
All right, Councillor Jolly.
thank you. So I agree that both Mondays and Tuesdays kind of have are good options. I do prefer Tuesdays to give residents more time to review and provide feedback on upcoming agendas. So yes, the Gazette does kind of report on decisions after the fact, but for me, what's really important is getting that feedback beforehand. So giving them that extra day is beneficial to my decision-making process. I also like Tuesdays because it gives more staff more time to respond to requests to residents. So if we get requests to address council, say over the weekend, Ledge isn't scrambling to get that sorted out for a Monday. I mean, there is that little bit of time. And also just to give a more reliable day of the week for everyone, including both staff and our families, frankly. Monday holidays in January, February, April, May, July, September, and October mean that we're moving meetings to Tuesdays quite often anyways. So just having Tuesdays means that we're always on Tuesdays, and that just provides some predictability. So that's why I'd like to see Tuesdays stand.
All right, thank you, Councillor Killick.
Thank you. Certainly, from my perspective, I think the current situation or schedule on Mondays works well. We knew that when we signed up as council. sure, I'd love to have the weekends available to prepare, right, or to spend with my family and not be preparing. But I think the current situation works well. We've got a good standing history with administration that I've only had one or two inquiries from residents come in on agenda items, which in the past I've been able to fire over on a email. Time delivery, 8 o'clock on Monday morning, so that nobody's working on them over the weekend. And I've always got a good reply back that has helped. So I personally have not been swamped with inquiries from residents. As I said, in 1 year, I've only had 2 on agenda items. I think the communication was something that we all ran on our platform last 1 year ago. Hard to believe it's been a year. But as we noted at that time when we were discussing some other bylaw changes, that 68% of residents rely on the Gazette to get information, and 67% prefer it as their way to get information. That's our own internal survey. And that was across all age groups, 34 to 65 plus, those 2 indicators. So based on that, having the ability to have a meeting on a Monday, giving the Gazette time to prepare their deadline and get it out to residents as a communication. And this has nothing to do with transparency. This is just basic, simple communication of what transpires at council. It's important to our residents, and Monday seems to work well. As I said, we all knew that when we signed up. We often also have an opportunity to review the real sticky issues well in advance, a week in advance at our committee of the whole meeting. So it's not like we need a huge amount of time. We've probably prepared already during our committee of the whole meetings for most of the major things that actually then come to council for final approval. So with the Gazette doing the reporting, whether we like it or not, they've got a compressed time schedule. So there's opportunity that it could probably be better if we had an extra day or 2, but they're not our advertising department. They're there to report what we say and get the information out to residents as quickly as possible. When you talk about communication, there's really 3 key pieces. It's got to be clear, it's got to be relevant to our residents, but it's got to be timely. If we wait to move it to a Tuesday and move it to having information come out in the Gazette a week later, it's totally irrelevant if the timing isn't there. So nobody wants to read week-old news. So I would definitely stick with Monday and stick with the 2 o'clock start time. It gives administration that time to get the wheels rolling and answer any questions that you might have in advance of coming to residents.
Before I go on to Councilor Romansky, the motion on the screen is incorrect. It's the amending motion was to replace the Tuesday version with Monday version. Correct. Yeah. Councilor Romansky.
Okay, I'll put a little bit different spin on this. I think the wheel's a little wobbly with the Monday meeting, and the reason being, and it's no disrespect to anyone, but I mean, we get our information on Friday and then we're scrambling Monday morning, sending letters to administration. I think it pushes administration trying to get that information done, for the council meeting early in the morning. We aren't going to be sending them letters on Saturday or Sunday to get clarification on things. So I would like the meeting, that administration to have time on Monday to clarify everything in the information that was sent on Friday and go into the meeting a little bit more organized, so to speak. So that's my reason for the Tuesday. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I know that the Gazette, it's very important for communication, but The question I wanted to discuss, and I'm not sure how we find the true value in this, but a lot of times our council meetings are going till 10 PM on, Monday night. And, the poor reporter from the Gazette, listening to all our political jargon till that time, and then trying to get her report done by noon the following day for cutoff. I often feel that a lot of the articles in the newspaper can be rushed and are missing a lot of the information. I feel that if they had a few more days to talk to counselors, visit counselor information, and I as a citizen would appreciate a more clear and informative report than a rushed early report. So I hope that works with the newspaper. I'm trying to work with everybody, but I want the best communication for the public and the best organized meeting possible with administration. That's mine.
Thank you. Councillor Broadhead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think we can say that what we're trying to do here is improve our processes for how we do business as a council. And while it's true that, we've done things in the past a certain way, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be open to changes that will improve how we do business. And I appreciate the desire for the Gazette to have the extra time for them to present their case on a Wednesday. I would suggest to them that, there's a principle that says a task that's set before you expands to take the time that is allotted to them. So if they want to get something out on Wednesday and the meeting happens on Tuesday, they'll find a way. And if it is such that it's so important that it be out the next day, they'll find a way. And quite honestly, they'll have an extra day to work with the material that's been public. Now they'll have an extra day to work with that. So in any case, I'm going to wait for more arguments, but I want to be open to always being flexible and innovative as a council. And so in any case, I'm not opposed to the change to Tuesday. So we'll see if somebody can convince me otherwise. Anyway, those are my statements, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Kilk, have you been on debate already? Yeah, you have. Okay, sorry, that's come. Honestly, Council, I have no strong feelings one way or the other. I think we can make whatever work. If we don't go to Tuesdays today, I highly suggest we make a motion right before the next election to Tuesdays. So people, when they fill in their nomination papers, know exactly what day of the week it is. But, because we need to accommodate, people that are sitting here and what they signed up for when they decided to run. But if we can get support for Tuesdays, I'm fine with it. I've heard what it works well on Mondays. I've heard why upset the apple cart. I can tell you, unless you're the mayor and you're sitting here on a Monday morning, you don't know if it works well. This is not the first time we've debated this. And the reason we continue to re-debate it is the administration keeps bringing it to us. I think politely, but I think in many ways they would like a Tuesday's meeting. It is very, very busy here on Monday mornings. It's, I'm meeting with the staff to try to figure out, who's registered. Even that whole process of registering, if you don't do it on the weekend, you don't do it before a cutoff on Monday, it's not accommodating to the public that way. There's quite often emails that are sent on the weekend with changes to the agenda, pulling from consent that of course staff have to read all those and accommodate those requests. And then of course there's questions. If there's something really important that we need to talk about before we actually get into the council meeting, there's no opportunity for that. I've been elected for 12 years and I'm used to reading agenda packages on the weekend, and I get that. I would love to read it on Mondays if I could. But I noticed in the Gazette article or letter too, they said the staff are reading.
And we can't